Welcome everyone. It is March 5th, and we are doing our weekly TruWest Realty meeting. Couple housekeeping things. Next week, a spring break for Louisville Independent School District, and we are going to be off. I've got 3 kids off. It's going to make it real hard for me to put a meeting together and come to the office every day. So I'll be off next week, so no meeting next week. I'll put a reminder in Workplace. And this Thursday is going to be a big time training on open houses. So those of you that can make it, I strongly recommend it. Melinda, really good opportunity for you. We're going to do a in-person. It is not on Zoom. It's an in-person training. It'll be in Cherry Creek in Colleyville. The information is sent in our group text that I put in our TruWest Realty group text. So 11:30 to about 1:30 is going to be the time frame. It'll have lunch provided, and I'm going to do a really strong open house. I'm going to give probably at least 7 or 8 tips in there that you can make money on. So make sure you guys make it to that. I will probably also record it because I like to record anytime I do these type of coachings and stuff like that. So that's going to be on Thursday at Cherry Creek in Colleyville. Have you guys, and some of you making offers out there, you guys getting multiple offers anywhere or competing offers? You, Mom?
I'm seeing it. Yeah.
Okay, I've had a couple of you give me feedback that you need tips on multiple offers. I know I've gone through several with Fernando recently, and I just listed that house in North Richland Hills, and we got 5 offers within like 24 hours. Like it was surprisingly, pretty intense. Joey, are you seeing multiple offers with anything? Like the one you just closed, was that just a pretty straightforward deal?
Yeah, it was pretty straightforward. We didn't have multiple offers. They were listed pretty high, and we just came in lower and more of a regular price, and they took it. So
Okay.
I think if they were priced more reasonable, they definitely would have seen more offers.
What city was it in?
Corinth.
Okay. What was their price? What was the list price?
It was a 3.2, 1,800 square foot, and they were listed at 360. I mean, really nice on the inside, small yard, but I mean, if they would have priced that even just 350, they probably would have seen multiple offers for sure.
Do you have a comment, Fred?
Yeah, I think it's real important to find out that what you're asking right now is also what areas. I think a lot of this multiple offers things is going to be in certain pockets of the Metroplex. So like, where was your multiple offer situation?
Mine was North Richland Hills. Joey's was Corinth. Fernando is Louisville. Louisville, if you're priced low, there's a good chance you're going to see multiple offers. Louisville's pretty competitive. It's a great gateway into the Denton County area. It's affordable. So a lot of those homes will get additional traffic and attention. They're typically the more hotter areas. There are areas that are going to sit longer, that don't typically run into that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give high level tips. Some's going to be new for you guys, things that I've just kind of been thinking through. I've done some pretty intense training on multiple offers. I've written a lot of my outline because this is where I wanted to go with my first book, was how to win in multiple offer situations, because it was so intense during COVID, and you would have buyers that you would be making offers for and just go one after another. And you might go 10, 12 offers in, right? You just get worn out. I saw you joined us, Shane. Have you had multiple offers on any of your houses, on the buy side or sell side, anything? Or you, Nikki, as well?
Not really yet. I just everything else that I'm kind of going on, they're just kind of sitting there at the moment.
Okay. Nikki, have you seen multiple offers?
Not for a while. No,
Well, we
no.
just
competing
covered a
there.
couple of areas up here in Dallas Fort Worth that are pretty hot, that are starting to get them. So I wanted to cover some quick tips on things that you guys need to consider when you are going to get engaged in those type of things, and things you could do to give yourself the best chance. The two things sellers will look at more than anything is always going to be price and risk. That's the top two considerations in almost every transaction. They obviously want to know the highest net. That's an obvious thing, right? But the other thing that we don't always think about is risk. And the more conditions you put into the transaction, the less likely they're going to want to take it, because they don't think that they're going to get to the end anywhere near that net that they're expecting, or they may not even feel like you're going to get to the end at all. So we're going to talk about how to remove some of those risks. And I always encourage all of you, don't have text conversations. I'm okay if you want to text them and say, hey, do you have anything working? That's fine. If they don't, then you could probably put an offer together and send it to them, and that's enough to get the conversation started. But I generally encourage you guys, get on the phone and talk with them if you think you've got a deal we're putting together. There's a whole lot more information that comes out of it. The conversation can build a little bit of, hey, I'm trying to work here. I hear you're trying to work here. Let's see what we can do to put it together. And when you just text, it leaves all that out. And one of the things I always try to cover, even before I'll send that offer, is outside of price and risk, which are obvious, right? We're going to know that the seller wants the highest price, least amount of risk. What else is important to your seller? Try to understand them. I do encourage you to have a conversation. Let's talk about the seller. Where are they going? What do they want to do? Let's see if we can help solve whatever challenge they're going through. And then maybe we talk a little bit about our buyer in a way that would be a benefit to the seller to consider us. You know, if it's they love this about the house or this about the house, there's things that you can do to kind of start building a little bit of connection there that's going to help give you more consideration. The ones that have longer conversations, more conversations with me, have a much higher percent chance of winning. And it doesn't take all that much time. I'm not talking to these people for 20, 30 minutes. I generally can cover a whole lot of things in just a 5 to 7 minute conversation. So definitely recommend you get on the phone and have a conversation. And I know a lot of them won't answer, especially during COVID. I think now I'm finding a lot of agents are actually answering the phone. I know a lot of you complained about that, no one's answering the phone. They never get back to me. I call them. I'll send a text that's going to solicit the opportunity for them to call me. Hey, I need to hear from you pretty quick. We're writing a really good offer on your house. Something along those lines should get you on the phone with them. Find something that will capture their interest. I'm going to pass that part. Those are obvious. Any questions so far? Multiple offers so far, what we're talking about, risk and price.
The house you said you had multiple offers on in North Richland Hills. Did you price it to where you were gonna get those?
So when I priced that house, I had one house in the neighborhood that was almost 200,000 over our price, and it was nothing like our house, and it's been sitting. Okay. I think it backed up to the pond. The material and the finish out was better. It had a pool, it had a backyard kitchen. Nothing was close to ours, and it was probably a good 1,000 square foot bigger. What I did see is we did have other homes that sold in that neighborhood, and they sat. And they sat because they were trying to get too much out of the house. So I came in at a price that would move it hopefully within 30 days. I wasn't trying to get multiple offers, but I wanted to secure a buyer at our price because every day was very expensive to this seller. And the seller said, let's do it. So that's the reason why we came and landed on that price. We did get 3 offers, cash offers that were over. So we got strong, good quality, limited risk offers. Had we gone a little higher on the price, probably would have landed a emotionally driven financial third-party financing buyer, and they would have negotiated everything from start to finish, and it would have dragged on. That could have been an option for us, but I really encouraged him to try to focus on trying to get out quick. So that was the focus. He said, I'm in, and that's the reason why we came up with our price when we listed it. But no, the price was very good. It was listed. We had a seller that agreed to just do what we asked. You don't get that very often. You guys know, right? I've got probably another 5 in the last 7 that are the opposite. Well, let's just list and wait. right? I don't know who likes to do that. Do you like to be showing your house every week? I mean, who wants to do that? So I think that strategy is very painful. And I cover that with them. I said, this is going to be very painful for you if we do it this way. And a lot of them just like, well, it's just worth the pain. I'm about to list one in Fort Worth, and it's in Forest Hill. And it's a big house in our neighborhood, has a 2-car garage. Most of them are 1 car. And they want to go 270. And I think it's probably about 240 is what I think that house is worth. And there's equivalent homes in the low 200s. They're 1,000 square foot smaller, but our condition isn't quite that good. So whoever's buying it's going to have some work to do when they buy it. I told them that up front, and they said, well, we're okay to lower it every week. And I said, okay, then if that's the way we're going to do it, then I just want to make sure we talk about that up front, that you're going to feel some pain. Our objective is to send an offer that's so clean, they only counter on 1 or 2 items. And what I'll do a lot of times is I'll send over the offer knowing that we're going to have a counter. That's fine. Then let's iron that out over the phone right now. Let's talk. And I want to get that clear. And a lot of times I'll tell you something that's real critical that I do, every time I have a phone conversation, I negotiate my offers over the phone. We are talking, we're having a conversation. I want to get it down to where they're going to say yes when I finish and get off the phone. And I'm going to text you these specific things that we're going to change from the original offer. I do those 2 things on every single deal that I work. I have the conversation, and then I send an email to Jenny or whoever you guys use for contract closing, and I send it to the seller or the buyer. These are the specific things we're changing, nothing else. And then we will move forward accordingly. That reduces a lot of gray area. Man, I tell you, I had one, I'll tell you a real frustrating one I had. It was on a house that was 1.75, and we got it down to 1.7. And the listing agent got real cute about title and survey. And I told him, I said, we've already got what your seller agreed to. And after we had sent the exact document agreed terms, he came back and said, well, can you check the box on the survey? And I said, you don't want to do that. The moment you change one more thing, you're a counter to a counter, then my buyer's going to get really uncomfortable. And he did it. And my buyer sat on it for 1 week and then pulled out. Everyone lost. So make sure we're clear when we do an offer, don't counter to a counter. I use that term whenever you make an offer, everyone agrees, and then they make one more change. Don't do it. Do whatever you can and make sure you're on top of your business and you don't have to do that. I always recap the offer in the email with positive bullets. I used to do positive and negative during the competitive market, but right now we could probably just focus on positive and get away with that. I think that's probably fine today. Focus on why they want to consider us. Let's get a quick decision. Let's get that thing moving. And then the main thing on doing multiple offers, we want to remove risk, right? So we have something that we could use in our arsenal, which actually 2 of the 3 offers that were over list on my listing, both waived option. Okay. That doesn't mean you can't get an inspection, but waiving the option allows basically what it does is it now says I've waived an enormous condition that we don't have to Mickey Mouse all the minor stuff. If we have something serious, then we bring it to the seller's attention. Most sellers are going to try to find some way to resolve it. Otherwise, they have a disclosure issue. So normally I can still kind of work through some of that after a non-option period. Now, we're not going to gamble on that. So what I say is make an offer that you can absorb $3,000 to $5,000 of guaranteed maintenance items on that house. This is above and beyond roof, foundation, and HVAC. If the roof, foundation, HVAC, or the condition, you're already accounting for it, or they're good, then we can remove that from the conditions. Then we're going to focus on maintenance related items. If you can get it to that point, then you have a pretty good assessment that you can provide to the buyer when they're buying that property and the seller has lost an enormous condition. Right? So we're going to remove the condition of the option period. You can remove a TPF. If you're worried about the buyer qualifying, you want to keep the third party in there. But if you're not, then you can remove the condition of the time period to get approved right now. get approved before you make an offer. Most of you experienced agents know what I'm talking about. If you think that's a consideration and we don't need the 21 days, which is what I use by default, you can change it. I usually do 30-day close, 21-day TPF. If you feel like your buyer's already approved that we don't need a lien on that condition, they want this house, then remove it. Another easy one you can remove. That makes you almost as good as a cash offer because now you've got an emotional buyer that has probably more to lose than the cash offer buyer. They're likely going to move forward. And then you can talk about appraisal, waiving it. And the way I approach the appraisal, Fernando and I had a conversation about this. I said, the way I would do it is consider on comps and what that value of that property is based on what the appraisal will come back. If they underlisted it, then consider where it should land, and where it should land, make sure we have enough cash to cover the shortage to get there. That's really the fundamental thing. So if you need 15 grand by default to buy the property and you feel like you're going to probably be within a range of 5 to 10,000 short potentially, then make sure they have another $10,000 cash that they can apply towards the purchase. And they are not losing any money. They're just applying it towards principal. They just don't get as much loan. So they're not out a net of a negative. It's just applying more to the actual principal of the home, and they get less loan attributed to them. Does that all make sense? Those are probably the three easiest conditions we can talk about: option period, waiving the third-party financing condition, and then appraisal shortage. Now, one option you could do on the option period, instead of waiving it, you can do something as I'm going to do a make or break. I'm doing a 3 business day option period. We're either buying or not buying. Or if we find anything above $2,000 in repairs, we'll negotiate. Anything under that, we'll take care of. There's some other ways you can put language to tell them up front, hey, we're not trying to Mickey Mouse your house. We know it probably has maintenance items. All houses do. But if it's less than $2,000, we're 100% good. If it's greater than that and any one repair, then we need to have a conversation. So that's something that you can also do to try to limit the scope of going through the option period. Any other questions on making multiple offers? Fernando, I see you jumped in, man. You've done a couple of multiple offers. You lost the first one,
That's right.
and then you won the second one.
Yeah,
Can you walk us through the first one real quick and then the second one?
Yeah, the first one was kind of I kind of just, went in just with the basic, just what, what my buyer was kind of, the stuff that he told me to put in the offer.
Hey, can you
So
hold on 1 second on that? This is going to be a really good note. I love that you said that. If you know you're going to walk into a house, you're not going to win, it's okay. Let your buyer experience loss, because that will be fuel the next time we're ready to win. Go ahead, Fernando.
yeah, and on the second one, yeah, I called you up, you gave me some low tips on uh uh what was option period. It was going a bit over asking price, making the the offer a lot more competitive, and and they had a lot of other offers on that property, and thank God we got that under contract. We're gonna close this Friday, so
That's pretty fast. Was it, are
yeah.
y'all paying cash?
No. They were they're great. They have a I think they're well, no, it was they're on a loan, but they're amazing credit score and everything.
Yeah, they must have been pre-approved,
Yeah, correct.
ready to close. I think it was only a couple weeks ago, I think we had this conversation. So they moved pretty fast.
Correct, yes.
Who's the lender?
It is, see, I have it right here. It is, let's see. First Liberty Bank.
Yeah, I don't know him, but that is a pretty impressive close date and getting that done. That's incredible. All right, very
I noticed
good.
that appraisals are getting done very quick.
Well, it's slow. Yeah, right. It's very slow. I have friends that are
Oh.
appraisers, and there's no work for them.
Yeah, so I mean, from, the contract I just did from request to report, it was 4 days. So,
That's fast. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's your biggest time breaker is the appraisal and any conditions that come up. But most of the time, if you have an active buyer, if they can work through the conditions pretty quick, you could close in 14 days on a house. You know, no lender's going to want to put that out there unless they're fully approved and they can order appraisal day one. And that's why waiving the option period gives you the fortitude to be able to do that. Because if you don't have an option period for conditions, you can order appraisal day one. And that really escalates the close date. You know, Eddie is still pretty good for 21 days most of the time. I've talked to him a few times. He's good with that. He could close faster if again, if you don't have an option, you're ordering appraisal day one, you're very confident you're moving forward, the buyer's not having any reason they're going to move out, then you can really, jump start and move a closing pretty quick. Any other comments on multiple offers in this market? Nothing like COVID. Don't have to, rewrite everything and name your first child after their dog. All kinds of crazy stories about things people were willing to do to win a house. All right, last thing. Do y'all have, I've got another topic I could run through and work you guys through, but I wanted to ask you, do y'all have any listings coming up? Does anyone want to share one?
My rental in Coppell is going live this week.
Let's make sure, see if we got them posted. I'm gonna look on Workplace. Usually Jenny's posting them around 11, I think. You know what? Is Facebook like shut down on you guys?
It made me sign back in, but I could sign back in and it was fine.
My
Okay.
messenger locked me out.
Yeah, Workplace is Facebook. It's Meta, so I can't even get into Workplace right now. I was gonna see if it'll let me log in so I can see the list. But if you want to be included, and you guys y'all should be posting your active listings in Workplace anyway. Oh, I was trying to get me to create one. It's because it's my EXP email. I'll work on it later. But yeah, so I'm out of the Workplace too. I got to get back in. So go there. That's where we're going to post our open houses. I'm going to have other people that are just in the group. If they have houses and stuff, there's going to be interest in other people trying to join and do open houses as well. So I will be doing that training on Thursday. It's going to be, it should be really, really intense. And it's going to talk about ways that you guys can make money doing them with little to no money out of pocket. I think most of us like that option. Has anyone tried to do any of the assumable loan options? They came out in the fall of last year. They started hitting because the rates started going up, right? So when they started going up, then people started looking at those 2% and 3% loans and as assumable options. If you have buyers that just don't really like the interest rate, it's a really good option. They got to have money though, because you got to cover the shortage in equity. That's one of the downsides that they are. But I know it's funny going back. I know Mom, she actually has done an assumable in the 90s on Crosshaven, and then you did another assumable on Duval back in the 80s. So we did some assumable loans, back in the day when they used to offer them. You can share if you want.
Oh, yeah, about the assumable loans.
Yeah.
Well, one case, I hadn't even got a job yet. I was doing temporary work and really I only was looking for non-assumable, and back then you didn't have to qualify. So I just bought the mortgage. I didn't care about the house. But yeah, it was really easy to get into and everything.
So those aren't available. Back in, I think it was 89, they passed a law that allowed people to do not just assumable, they offered a non-qualifying assumable. And you were able to take advantage of that on the second house. So
Yes.
you have to have a job. You just take the note, start making payments. And I guess everyone prayed that you would make the payments.
That's right.
But houses were a lot cheaper back then and the risk was a lot lower. But now, I mean, you get $3,000 and $4,000 loans a month. It's a little different game today. All right, I'm gonna share real quick. Joey, thumbs up. You can see my screen. All right, so to look up assumables, if you do have it come up, in buyer financing at the bottom, when you're, so this is the main search page, right? So we're doing the search Netra system, and you have the additional fields. I have buyer financing, and for some reason that is not working in the new MLS back office system. No one's using it. I don't know why. It used to be used all the time. We could get in here and punch in conventional, FHA, and all that stuff. But it's not being utilized anymore. So like cash, it'll say 4 houses in the entire Netros system. That doesn't make sense. Or if I type in FHA, 1 house in the entire entire Netros system is qualified. So it's not working. No one's using it. I don't know why. But if you go to listing terms, now it has proposed financing. So they've kind of moved over to using this. And it's not really listing terms. It's basically what terms are we offering to the general public that we would consider, is kind of the way I think it's meant. So in here, you can punch in assumable. I would also look at lease option. If you wanted to get into the assumable space, lease purchase, sometimes that will work. And there's some other options that you could probably kind of punch in there. So there's 280. There's sure not very many. We really need like 500 to 600 of them, because almost every one of these houses that are for sale, especially if they're FHA bought, are qualifying at some level. So then now you get to see what options we have. And I've been in this market a few times to kind of look around. And I know I saw one in here. No, not that one. Let's try Orchard. It's out here in Justin. I've got buyers looking in this space here. And right here under property description, 2.75 assumable loan available. Okay. Think anybody would want a 2.7% interest rate? Probably could find some buyers to do that. That's one way to search. And another way, because they're not all utilizing these fields correctly, is I come in under property description right here and type in assumable. Not very many. We only got 13 that pop up, but that's another way to capture. I actually caught one that was not in listing terms, was on that only. And I sold one that way, and the other one I sold the other way. They both showed up on 2 different searches. I ended up closing 2 assumable loans in the last 90 days. So I think it's an option for you guys. You know, just something else to think about. Keep in your pipeline. They don't want to pay 7%, and they have, you know, 70, 80, $90,000 or somehow access to it, right? They don't have to have it in their bank account, but access to it. Then that will help them cover the shortage, and they will be able to lock up a loan that's better than inflation. That's really hard to beat. They're actually going to make money on that loan if they hold it. All right. Any other feedback on assumable loans, or if you have current transaction challenges? It's be a good time to share that right now. All right, guys. Well, that's all I have for this week. And remember, next Tuesday, spring break for us. So I will not be doing a meeting, a TruWest Realty meeting next Tuesday. But if you can make it Thursday, Colleyville, 11:30, I'll be doing the training on open houses, and lots to learn from that. Any last minute questions, comments?
Wanted to show you this shirt.
Oh, absolutely. So Joey is putting on, he's got a TruWest Realty group shirt he has for his bowling team. It's, yeah, there it goes. There it goes. I love it.
I got that.
So to get one, you got to join his team.
And then that's the jersey.
Love it.
Pop in.
Oh,
Oh, Steve can't talk. I got these for $20. They're really nice, really comfy.
Love it.
If you guys want them, Locker Room Sports from Louisville has the templates. You can just order them.
Awesome.
Very good. I appreciate it, Joey. You guys have a high performance week, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.